12 races in the 1UP Turbo Truck Series for 2024. We have had 12 different winners so far, and tonight the regular season comes to its dramatic conclusion here at Darlington. We have 16 drivers going for the last 7 spots in the playoffs. Only 3 drivers know they are going to race for a title later this year. Which 7 will join them? We're about to find out after 56 laps here at the Darlington Raceway. And what a beautiful race it's going to be for us with Throwback Weekend as on the horizon for us. It's going to be a great night seeing all these trucks decked out in different paint schemes this week, and who knows, we might have a little bit of drama here and there as we race towards the playoffs. And alongside me to bring you all the action for this last time in the regular season is Ryan Griffin once again with me. Well, some of the trucks might look a little different, but the racing action is very much the same. What are we going to expect in this last race of the Turbo Truck Series regular season?
Well, first of all, it's Darlington. So Darlington is, as the name suggests, it is the track too tough to tame. It is a rough racetrack. It is a hard racetrack to get a handle on, and you better be on your game here. And I can't think of a better track to wrap up the regular season than here, because it really is going to show us who the best of these guys is and who can step up and basically have a Game 7 moment. This is the point where you got to put all your chips to the table. If you're gambling in the casino, you put all the chips in and you're all in at this point. It's one shot to make it on one of the toughest tracks on the circuit. And honestly, I think it's going to be fun to watch these guys tonight, and then throw in the element of the throwback paint schemes too, and we get to see how these teams kind of revel in that aspect of it. So it should be fun. I'm going to enjoy it.
Absolutely, as am I, as we can now bring you the starting lineup for this final race of the regular season, 56 laps ahead of us this evening, and it is a front row lockout for MJ Autosport, the Mercedes team, with Reggie Fogelman taking career pole position number 1. He's got Alex Sanfittel, his teammate, alongside him. That 43 truck we're going to be focused on quite a bit today, because he is one of those guys on the bubble racing for a playoff spot, as is Jacob Buchholz in 3rd, as is Francois Chastain in 4th. Brandon Smith, Paul Villalobos 5th and 6th, and Cameron Lessard in 7th. They're all racing for their playoff futures at the moment. They fill out the top 7, and then 8th place DJ Kurtis. He basically has a hand on the regular season championship already, but he'd love to put a stamp of authority on it with a good run here tonight. Aguo Zhao in 9th, though. He's got a lot of ground to make up. He basically needs to win this race if he's going to have any hope of making the postseason. From 9th place, is that possible?
It is possible. I think the preferred line, at least on the start here, is going to be on the inside, and Zhao has shown he's got the speed to be able to do it. It's just a matter of basically you put yourself in a scenario where you need basically a perfect race. He needs to get to the front as quickly as he can, lead as many laps as he can, and then just see where the chips lie. I mean, you can only control what you can control, and we'll just have to wait and see if that works out for him or not. I mean, Zhao's got the pace. He's got the pace to be able to do it. I just think it's going to be a challenge. You're talking this racetrack to try to pull that off, and trying to win one race is tough, but to basically have it be the one race you need to win and it's to make the playoffs we'll have to see how it works out. I'd love to see it work out for him. I'd love to see somebody pull a moment like that, but we got to think realistically here, and that is you just got to get everything you can get, and if it falls that way, it falls that way.
So he's got a lot of work to do, but we got a lot of faith in him to try and make that happen. So with that being said, with a couple superstar drivers dotting the field as well, we've got a great race in store for you tonight. 56 laps at Darlington, and we're ready to bring you that action now. It's the regular season finale, and the Turbo Trucks at Darlington Raceway, and the green flag is getting ready to drop on the field. Stay tuned. This is going to be intense. A lot on the line for our truckers here tonight at Darlington. Can one of the 2 MJ Autosport trucks get their maiden win tonight? We're about to find out as they roll into the restart zone. Fogelman and Sanfittel take us to the green flag. It is in the air, and the 55 gets a slight edge over his teammate in the 43. That's what you expected would happen, isn't it, with the inside line being prevalent going into turn 1?
Yeah, you're going to see this for much of the night, but the inside line is the preferred line here, mainly on these starts and restarts. And as we clearly see, the 55 is going to take advantage and take the early lead here with his teammate. Looks like it's going to fall into second, and then Buchholz there in the 10 is going to fall into third. We'll watch this all night, too. The other thing we're going to have to watch, too, is these guys, because of the line you have to run here, we may see some right sides of the truck scraped up from scraping the wall because of how you have to run this racetrack. So we'll have to keep an eye out for that as well.
Absolutely, yeah. There's a reason the Darlington stripe exists, and these guys might have to deal with that for the duration of the event. As Brandon Smith in the 15, he pulls up into 4th place ahead of Cameron Lessard in the 00. Sam Vitale ducks to the outside, trying to get some momentum going to get past his teammate. This is an important thing for Alex Sanfratel to do, and for Buchholz for good measure. They both want to lead this race and pick up an all-important bonus point for it.
Yeah, we talk about points and how much they could matter, especially this being the race. After this race, we take the top 10 and we head for the playoffs. So any point you can get now is going to help you in the long run. So that's what these guys are hoping to do as we see the fight continue here. Again, the 55 continues to lead. The 10 still trying to work on getting that second position. I think he should get it. Nice run there out of 4. But he's going to run side by side instead in a 1. And it's kind of rough to run side by side here, so half the time you'll see these guys maybe kind of give a little bit here early on, but it's hard to run side by side here as well. So you got to try to make your passes as quick as you can, as smooth as you can, and then just, I guess you could say, set sail.
Which Buchholz has now done. He has cleared San Vitale for the runners-up spot. They almost went 4 wide there for a brief moment. They are going to go 3 wide out of turn 4. Zhao on the inside. Brandon Smith in the middle, and Cameron Lessard riding the outside line. This is a very important move for Zhao to make. He needs to make up some positions while the tires are still good in that 98.
He asked me in the pre-race, you said, could Zhao possibly win this race from 9th place? Well, there's your answer of how you're going to get there. You got to take advantage of every opportunity that's presented in front of you, and he was trying to take advantage of the fact that 15 and 00 side by side, see if he could get 2 for 1. And he has made his way forward from start 9th. He is running, we'll see where it updates here, I believe in the 5th position. No, he's actually 6th, but still, it's a gain. He needs to be doing that. He needs to get up front and try to lead as much of this race as he can to do kind of what he's done the last couple of weeks, just without the end result, hopefully.
And I have a feeling we're going to be talking about this 92 as well. This is Jeffrey Finguy driving it this week in the 92 for his own team, and that team's trying to make the owners playoffs. They're pretty solidly up there now, but a good run here would do it great for them. And DJ Kurtis running in the 10th position. He could win the regular season championship from there, but I'm sure he wants to do much better, knowing that he's only finished out of the top 10 3 times this season.
Yeah, and Kurtis still on that brilliant season, and I say this not so much as, an affiliate teammate, of course, obviously drive for FBM myself, but he, I think, honestly, is the biggest contender for this champ. He is definitely the favorite going in, and we'll see how they approach this playoffs, and hopefully they can replicate what I did for that team 2 years ago and get him another one. It'd be cool to see FBM get 2 truck titles, with 2 different drivers. But meanwhile, at the front, it's the 10 truck has gotten the lead from the 55. So he's trying to get that bonus point, get that. I don't think he got it the last lap by, so he should get it this time by. As the 43 is going to counter. Again, he's another one we talked about that needs to get points. Make sure he can.
Yeah, and I think that, I think
his position.
Right. I think that may have been a bit orchestrated by the team. Because Fogelman's, I think his job was to hold the lead as long as he could, and once he got past, let the 43 by, because that's the truck racing for a playoff spot, and it's 5 points difference between second and third. So they did the exchange, they did it well, and now Alex Sanfratel can try and set off after Jacob Buchholz, who leads for the first time tonight.
Oh, you're talking about the superstar guys being in a race. Look at I'm watching Finguy at 92 just cut through the field right now. Again, we saw last race out at Watkins Glen what the 6 truck did with a superstar driver in it. So, superstar driver's trying to go 2 for 2, I think, here in the back-to-back weeks here. So, we'll see what Finguy has tonight, but he's definitely got a good-looking truck here early on. Again, focusing on Zhao here, and I like the game they've showed here early, but they need to be doing more than this. And this is what I think has been the story of this team this season since it seems like they can't seem to recover from when they've bitten themselves, and they have the mechanical issues that they've had. And they'll run good the next week, but it's not good enough to be making up ground. And unfortunately, I want to see more out of them if they're going to have a shot to maybe make this playoffs. We got lead change up here. The 43 has taken it now from the 10.
How about Alex Sanfratel? This is one of the most important races he's ever run. But Buchholz trying to come back at him. The 43 shuts the door, and that is a very important bonus point for Alex Sanfratel, who entered this race 10th place in the standings. He needs that point, and he needs a lot more of them. As Finguy catches the wall through 1 and 2, doesn't seem to have slowed him down too much. He stays ahead of Cameron Lessard in 4th, but that could have been bad for the 14-time Superstar winner.
Yeah, again, you're going to catch the wall a little bit here. It's just that you don't necessarily want to hit it that hard. Most racers actually think, oh, you don't want to hit the wall, but Darlington, it's not necessarily bad to scrape the wall here. So it's kind of, that's why we have the Darlington stripe. It's kind of an honorary badge, but we're looking at this race up here, and again, here comes Finguy. I think Finguy's going to get the lead now out of that exchange.
Well, he's definitely gotten second.
He's going to get second. He's going to get second, but man, that 92 truck is on a rail right now. So we'll see if he can get up there to the 43. But the 43 and the 10, at least here early, doing what they have to do. They got a lap led. Now the next goal is to get the next bonus point, which is either running a fast lap or trying to go out there and lead the most laps. So you want to cover your bases as far as bonus points. Get as many bonus points, whatever way you can, and then at that point, you got to race your competition and try to finish as best as you can.
Right now, Reggie Fogelman has the point for most laps led. He's led 8 times around so far. This will be, I believe, Alex's 3rd lap led, unless Jeffrey Finguy can get a run on the 43, and he does. Move to 92 from 11th starting spot in just 14 laps to the race lead. That is the mark of a true racer right there, and a champion in the making, probably. He's got a great shot at winning this Superstar title when we get to that finale. But for now, he's focused on winning this Turbo Truck Series race and locking that 92 into the Owners' playoffs.
I'll tell you what, the other truck that's also kind of followed Finguy through is that 00 Cameron Lessard up to the 3rd position, trying to take 2nd from the 43. And Lessard's kind of followed almost in Finguy's tire tracks here the last few laps.
We got Sanfratel into the wall,
off the fence.
And he's in there a lot deeper than Finguy was. Look at all the positions he's going to lose now.
I think he's going to be possibly 7th.
And that is not what Alex Sanfratel needed. That is not what the 43 needed. He needed to be up at the sharp end of the field trying to make something happen, because now he's going to fall all the way back to, I believe, the 6th position as they run right now. Yeah, Buchholz did get past him. He's going to try and fight this one back, but that was a costly mistake early in the race for the 43. They need to rebound.
I'd not necessarily be concerned with the position loss as much as how much was that truck damaged by that contact with the wall, because that was a little more serious contact than what we've seen here at Darlington in its past history. So I'd be a little more concerned with that than I would be about their position on track. Again, they came into the race tonight on the bubble. They were the 10th place guy, but they've already led a lap and pretty much broke even with the 10 as far as leading a lap. So I think they're pretty much kind of settled back down here. I know it was kind of a bit of a scare, and I'm sure that he's a little bit worried of the truck, but you just got to calm yourself down, relax, and, well, maybe not necessarily relax, but calm yourself down and get back to the task at hand.
Meanwhile, someone who is backsliding through the field a little bit is our pole sitter, Reggie Fogelman, because DJ Kurtis is in the process of passing him now for the 9th position. Fogelman drops back to 10th. Maybe he doesn't have the truck that his teammate does, because ever since he got into dirty air, he's just been falling through the field slowly here.
Well, then again, maybe maybe it could have been a strategy played by that team. If you got one truck that's faster qualifying, but obviously the 43 geared the race condition, maybe they just wanted to keep like one of the competitors to the 43 to keep them from getting the pole and leading laps. I mean, it would be kind of a smart strategy as far as that goes, as it looks like Brandon Smith might try to take 2nd now from Lessard.
Look at Eglo's out. He's up to 4th now in the 98. There's that extra push you were talking about.
Yeah, there's that extra push. He needs to start gaining. He's up to 4th. Again, he needs more. It's still early enough in this race that I think if you can get out front and start leading, you could put yourself at that in the conversation for leading the most laps in this thing. As you said earlier, the most laps led to this point is 8 laps. So if you could get out front, I mean, there's a good possibility you could put yourself in line to get that bonus.
But look, one thing we neglected to address in the midst of all this battling, Jeffrey Vingay now has a 1.5-second lead over the entire field. If you're going to get by that 92, you're either going to have to put the nitro on, or you're going to have to do something different as far as strategy is concerned, because we do have a pit stop to make in this race.
And we do have a pit stop to make in this race, which, as we get closer to the halfway point, that's probably where we're going to see him do it. But yeah, to your point, Vingay's pulled out his big lead, and as we check the gap now, it looks like he lost 3/10 that previous time because it was a second 4/10. Now it's back down to a 10th. So they might have heard us talking about it, slowed him down just to make it not look as big. But yeah, you're exactly right. If you get somebody, again, but that also goes to my point, if you can get somebody out front, if you can get out front and get away from this fantastic battling we're seeing, you could very well lead laps to put yourself in line for that bonus. Well, the problem is for these guys back here is Vingay is out there. He's the one they're chasing. He's the one in that position right now. So you got to find some way to unseat him, and the only way that you, at least right now, would be to run up there and try to get him.
Yeah, and so far Cameron Lassard is trying to be the guy to take that task to heart, but right now he's still about a second behind the 92, and at the rate they're going right now, it would take a lot for Lassard to get up there. But we've seen that 0-0 win races before. He won in Phoenix earlier this season to get himself in this position, and he got real close to the wall there out of turn 2. Nothing to really be alarmed of as long as he didn't really damage the truck, which I don't think he did. As the battle now is for 3rd position between Smith and Zhao, and that is worth another point for the 98.
Yep. Again, Zhao is doing pretty much everything he has to do except lead the race. And honestly, that's the biggest thing he needs to do right now. Granted, I don't know if he can make up the 2nd and 8/10 he's behind Vingay at the moment, but he is gaining positions. And that's, at this point in the race, you want to be moving forward. You don't want to be falling back. And
he did just lose a spot.
They're accomplishing that goal, so...
He tried to get a little bit of help from his Mercedes partner, not necessarily a teammate, but they're both driving Mercedes, the 43 San Vital, but I don't think that's enough because Villalobos just drove by the 98, and now Zhao settles back in the 5th position. So there's a lot still to play for, but for this 98, they've got to do something drastic here to make a change, especially as we're closing in on 30 to go.
Yeah, and then the race has tightened up for 2nd as well. I mean, Brandon Smith has caught this 0-0, as has the 66, and we've been kind of overlooking this 66 as well too. He's another one that came in here, I think, as one of those guys around the bubble, if I'm correct or not. But he's another one that coming in here needs a good run, and here he is. He's running top 5 right now, running 4th, and trying to see if he can put it to these guys as well. So we'll never know who shows it. Well, it'll be interesting to see who shows up in this thing because you never know.
Yeah, and meanwhile, we've got an enthralling battle here for 10th spot. Nate Champion in the 86, putting a very colorful throwback that will be instantly recognizable by anybody in the field. And behind him, Stanley Andrews in the 6 truck. He's had a wretched year in Superstar competition, yet to make a race aside from the All-Star race, so he shut down his team, focusing on driving for now. He's got to deal with Crossroads Racing next year, and now he's doing a one-off truck race for Robbers Racing in that 6 that won last week. So for Andrew's first truck start of the year, he's doing a good job. He's hanging in there just outside the top 10. I would not be ashamed at all with that performance.
Yeah, sometimes the best thing you can do is just kind of focus on one thing. I see it a lot. I've seen it through watching the truck races and running in the National Series. You got to focus on one thing at a time sometimes. If you got too much going on with your focus, you may lose a little bit one aspect or the other, either team owner or driver. So it's nice to kind of focus on one, focus on what he knows best, which is probably the driving, and look where he is right now. He's having a nice, decent run, battling for the top 10, and, a good run can put that fire back in you, and, who knows what'll happen.
Meanwhile, back closer to the sharp end of the field, Ego Zhao is making the pass again on Villalobos to retake the 4th position. That's probably something he needed to get done if he's going to have a shot at this postseason. And we are now past halfway in this race. We're coming up on 26 laps to go. I would not be surprised if we started seeing a few trucks trickle on the pit road, try and get a bit of an advantage, because really, with a 2.6 second lead now between Finguy and Lassard, you're going to have to do something different than the 92 if you're going to beat it.
Yeah, and a tire difference would definitely do that. If you pit a little early, get those fresh tires, especially here at Darlington, you get those fresh tires a little earlier than somebody else, you may be able to take advantage of them. And especially if you got somebody that's in a situation like Zhao, where you got to try to win the race. Winning the race is your shot to get in, so you might be able to flip the strategy, and you might be able to flip it that way. So as for Finguy's just out for just a Friday night cruise, kind of.
Yeah, he's got a 2.7 second lead. He's got nothing to worry about because he hasn't hit the back end of the field yet. But once he does, I feel like that would throw a bit of a wrench into his plans. We'll see what happens, though, at the end of the race. As Brandon Smith swoops around the outside of Cameron Lassard, that is a change of second position. Moved to 15 now up to P2. This is a guy who has not won yet this season and would very much like to before the playoffs start.
And this is another thing I kind of noticed too, and we've seen it the last couple of years here with the truck race here, and I think a couple of the other races here too. The inside lane seems to be preferred for restarts and start of the race, but it seems like this outside, as the run goes, starts to come in with these guys, because we've already seen a couple. We've seen Brandon Smith just now make the pass on Lassard around the outside. You can get a little bit of a momentum run, especially out of turn 4. Carry that speed down the front straightaway and set up a pass into turn 1. And it's interesting because you would think the high side would work here, but it does. So it just takes a little bit into the run for it to work.
Yeah, and I think Ego Zhao is wanting to employ that strategy here around the outside of Cameron Lassard, because look at the field starting to bunch up behind the 00. Got Villalobos taking a look underneath the 98. You've got San Vital, DJ Kurtis, Jacob Buchholz. They're all back there trying to make something happen. Meanwhile, Brandon Smith starting to pull away from this group, but still losing time to the 92.
And yeah, so we got this nice little battle going on again. Here's Kurtis, Francois Chastain. Chastain's another one of those bubble guys. Running right there in 9th. Solid top 10 run for that one truck.
Yeah, and that's honestly what he needs. He entered today, I believe, 9th in the points. So he's looking for something good to happen, and a top 10 run would probably secure himself a spot in the playoffs, but we'll see once the checkered flag flies. Coming up on 20 to go. We still have yet to see pit stops, but they're coming sooner rather than later. As Villalobos again dives to the inside of the 98. He's looking to try and get the 4th position away, because that 66 rather, looking to make a move into the playoffs. As oh boy, here we got our first pit stop of the night, and it is the 92 of Jeffrey Finguy. That is not what the field wanted to see.
Well, we were going to ask, was anybody going to try to get the early advantage on tires? And unfortunately, for the field, the one who is going to probably get the early advantage is the one they didn't want to have that early advantage.
And he's the only one coming in this time, so that is a very interesting turn of events. Now Brandon Smith cycles to the lead of the race. He will get a bonus point for leading a lap. We're trying to find Jeffrey Finguy, who's currently on pit road, and it would be foolish to do anything but take 4 tires here. So Finguy's going to get his. Yeah, and here comes everybody else. They could not have wasted a second more. But Kurtis, he's trying to lock himself up the regular season championship, and what better way to do that than get a bonus point himself?
Yeah, lead a lap. And well, I say that as we talk about, pit early and getting the early advantage tires, but the one thing you have to be aware of and careful of is you want it to cycle through these stops. If there's a caution in the middle of these stops,
oh yeah,
then it doesn't matter if you may have fresh tires, but it doesn't matter, because as soon as the yellow comes out, everybody that hasn't pitted is going to pit, and now you're trapped possibly a lap down. So that's kind of
this is an
the
important
risk
moment.
with
The blending in from the racetrack to the pit lane and vice versa. Thankfully, Finn Guy did not get crossed up by anybody, but the red truck right behind Jeffrey Finn Guy is the 84 of Logan Jones. He's going to stay out another lap, and he's going to pick up a bonus point as well.
And then the other thing about I didn't get a chance to mention it because we started getting into the run of it. The pit entry here is also very tricky too. It's a very tight turn into pit road, and we have seen people in the past miss the pit entry here. So, and have to go around another lap, and it kills you time wise. So, there's definitely something you also have to keep an eye on. Although it doesn't seem. It seems like pretty much everybody that has stopped hasn't had any issues coming to pit road. So it's just something to mention that, you know, we can keep an eye on as these stops go on. But it seems like everybody is able to manage it, or has able to manage it. And
yeah, so
we'll get through the cycle.
Yeah, the 84 did pit on the next go-around, so that should complete our cycle. My question is, how big a lead is Jeffrey Finn Guy going to have? Because he is most certainly going to be the leader once this all cycles out. Oh my goodness.
I would expect he's probably going to have at least double what he had before.
He's at the line now. Brandon Smith is just coming out of turn 4, and he's going to be in second. Look at the gap between these guys. 6.5 seconds.
Yeah, he pretty much about doubled, if not tripled, that gap. So
a caution would change everything now, but that's probably the only thing that's going to change this race at this rate.
It looks like everybody would pretty much cycle through the stops. I don't see any major losers from this stop. It looks like we pretty much came out about the same running order roughly.
I do see one big loser in this battle in the cycle, that being truck number 10, Jacob Buchholz, who's now running just inside the top 20 when he was running inside the top 10 before the cycle. There he is in the 10 truck. He's now 18 seconds off the lead in 20th place. So he's the one guy who's lost out big, and that could be critical for his aspirations for a championship.
And again, it could have been just that he had a slow stop too. You know,
Jacob Miller as well is not in a good position either. So, and Cal Farrell lost a few positions too. He's down in 28th spot now, which is surely not what he wanted, and because he entered this race only 11 points behind the cut line. But that might put an end to the Cinderella story of Seismic Motorsports this season. And Braden Varga had a pit stop from hell on his cycle. He entered the pits just outside the top 10. He's running 38th on the racetrack now.
Yeah, you know, one pit stop, we talk about pit stops, you know, a good pit stop gets you in a good position, but a bad one can really, really drop you out of contention, and you feel bad for the ones that are affected by it, but that's why you do the races, that's why you run it, you see what happens.
And Varga was only running this race to try and win it because he's trying to be the first guy to win in all 3 series. That's obviously not going to happen now. But now the gap between Finn Guy and Brandon Smith, 7 seconds. And Finn Guy's now closing up on the back of the field. I saw the 99, Archer Shriak. There he is. He's not that far ahead of Jeffrey Finn Guy, so he needs to probably deal with that 99 pretty quickly. I think he has some room to work with here. But it's just, you need to deal with it quickly if you're going to hold a 7-second lead here.
And the lap's winding down too as we are pretty much coming into 10 to go roughly here, so pretty much this is your last gas if you're some of these guys that, you know, you need as many points as you can get. You're trying to get all you can get, and at this point I almost want to say that the 43, the 1, those ones that were on the bubble coming in, I think these guys, you know, 9th, 10th, a good top 10 run, you get your bonus point in the case of the 43. I think you're looking in pretty good shape here. Now, as for someone like Zhao, who pretty much had to win the race, I think this is pretty much their last gas. I don't know if they're going to be able to you're not making up 11 seconds on the leader, or excuse me, 8.2 seconds is the gap between him and Finn Guy, but just try to get the best finish you can. You know, it's unfortunate it's going to end that way, but You know, you at least you put your best effort forth. You know, you tried what you could here in this last race.
As Audrey Anzac makes a late pit stop, something amiss with the 3, that is going to end her aspirations for a playoff spot. She entered quite a ways behind, needed a miracle, didn't get it, and now, just to add insult to injury, is probably going to finish deep down the order with this second pit stop. But going back to what we were saying about Chastain and San Vital, I would not be so sure about those guys, because look at who's directly in front of them. It's the 8 of Santi Messi, who entered this race 11th in the points. And if he can pick off the 6, the 22, and maybe even the 66 as well, that could be enough to put him in.
Yeah, it's just a matter of ticking off laps now. We'll see how these late laps develop here. Again, Finn guy pretty much on cruise control at the front of the field, which don't give it to him yet. We've seen some races here in the past. We've seen some races in the series here, and you know the other series where it looked like somebody had pretty much held. We saw it earlier this year with Zhao in a couple of races where it looked like he had the race in hand.
Yeah, the IRP, for example.
Late laps, late things change. So I know we cross here with 8 to go. So we just kind of. I know at this point the 92 crew is just kind of holding their breaths. Okay, let's get it to the white flag, you know.
And Alex Sanfratel in this 43, he cannot lose any more spots, as there's Audrey Anzac getting back onto the racetrack 3 laps down. But yeah, Alex Sanfratel cannot afford to lose another place, because as they run right now, he is in very fine margins on the bubble with that 8 truck. So he needs to either hold position and hope the 8 stays where he is as well, or he needs to pick up a few spots of his own. This is going to be very tight between the 8 and the 43, coming to 6 laps to go this time.
6 laps to go. It's Finn Guy, Smith, Lassard, Zhao, and Kurtis is your top 5 at the moment. And it really has just been the story of Finn Guy. I mean, back-to-back races we've seen here, Watkins Glen and now here, where the superstar guys are showing up now. You know, granted, it's going to become playoff time, which means these regulars that are gunning for the title will obviously see the regulars more. But man, these playoff guys, these superstar guys coming down here and showing off a little bit here the last 2 weeks.
And now
it makes me want to grab my helmet and get down there and show those guys how it's done.
Well, now Finn Guy's gotten past Triok to put him a lap down, so that is going to only help him, as we have 5 laps to go in this race. Finn Guy's leads 7.8 seconds over Brandon Smith. Lassard trying to make a move here late, try to pick up 5 more points. Zhao, I think, what you said may be true. He needed to win this race, and that's clearly not going to happen without some sort of intervention of some sort. But what he can do is he can try and pass the 00 and the 15, get as many points as he can, and hope for a blunder from a couple of the guys he's chasing.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much that's what I was going to have to hope for. Again, they put you look at them saying, you're running top 5. How can you say that? It's not a bad day. It's just
wasn't enough.
What they needed to do to try to make the ultimate goal, which is the playoffs, is not going to happen this year. And it's unfortunate because I think that team's been one of the quicker teams this year. It's just they've had some things not go their way, and it's unfortunate it didn't work out for them.
Yeah, and we're coming to 2 laps to go here. Mike White having a strong run just outside the top 10, fighting for 11th. Reggie Fogelman, the pole sitter, didn't quite have it today. He snapped down in 15th spot. And we now have 3 laps to go, and we got a battle among teammates here. Paul Villalobos, Stanley Andrews having a pretty solid day after the pit stop. He's now running in 7th spot after being passed by his teammate. Great day for a driver trying to find his footing.
Absolutely, and again, Finn Guy still having a little bit of a hassle with his lap truck here. It's not really taking big chunks out of his lead, but he's got to be careful here. Again, superstar driver, so he should know how to deal with the lap traffic, but you got to be a little careful here, though, with you're going to be coming to the white flag this time, and you pretty much had this race on command since he took the lead, so just got to bring her smooth and home here one more time.
And the white flag will be flying for Jeffrey Finn Guy in this 92, and boy, this is going to be a dominant win. Might be one of the bigger margins of victory we've seen all season at this point. And I believe, actually, now that I'm looking at my stat sheet a little more, this would be his first truck win, actually, if he was able to hang on for half a lap more.
How about that? And I think he's gonna bring her smooth here with 3 and 4. I think Finn guy's gonna start the weekend off here at Darlington. Good way.
So coming out of turn 4, it will be first career win in the Truck Series for Jeffrey Finn Guy in that 92. Excellent performance from him, and that is going to do it for the regular season. Brandon Smith comes home 7.1 seconds back, but he will lock up a playoff spot in second, as will Lassard in third. Iguazao, fourth place. He gave it his best effort, but he does come up just a little bit short in the playoff bid, but still a fantastic run for a team that was needing one after the struggles of weeks past. DJ Kurtis comes home in fifth. He will lock up the regular season title with that run. 15 bonus points going with that. Paul Villalobos makes the playoffs in sixth place ahead of Stanley Andrews. A great run for him in seventh. Santi Messi eighth. Francois Chastain ninth. And by the absolute skin of his teeth, Alex San Vital, by coming home in 10th place, those 3 laps he led at the beginning of the day, boy, did they make the difference, because he is in by a single point over Santi Messi in the 8 truck.
Yeah, you gotta give credit to the 8 team though. They kind of showed up here at the end and like made their push. Unfortunately, it's gonna come 1 point short for them, but props to that 43 team as well. You know, they started the weekend off good by qualifying in the front row. They got the lap led. It made the difference.
Yeah, and put it this way, if he hadn't led those laps, he would have lost the tiebreaker with the 8, considering Messi has a win this season and San Vital does not. But with that, we have our playoff field set. Jacob Pujols, despite the slow pit stop, also hung on to make the playoffs in the 10 truck. Justin Whitmer also in the playoffs. Angel Gutierrez and Brian Grigsby were locked in from the beginning. They too will join the playoff field. So we have our 10 drivers set. That was a fantastic race at Darlington. I am very satisfied with the outcome of that. And next time up for the 1UP Turbo Truck Series, we head to the concrete half mile everybody fears the most at Bristol Motor Speedway for the start of the playoffs, and that is going to be a big challenge of its own right for all these guys. So, from Ryan Griffin and from myself as well, we say goodbye from Darlington. Our field of 10 is set. Congratulations to Jeffrey Finn Guy on the win, his first in the Turbo Truck Series, and congrats to all 10 of our playoff drivers. They're going to put on an incredible show when we start the playoffs in a few weeks at Bristol.